Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Phillips Russo, the Viticulture Extension Specialist with the Lake Erie Regional Grape Program, part of Cornell Cooperative Extension's regional team. I'm here with Kevin Martin, our business management, and he's going to talk to us today about an executive order that came through about FICA.
Yeah, I don't have the original date of the executive order. It was at least 3 weeks ago, but it didn't answer a lot of questions. It was fairly vague. But basically, if you recall, the headline at the time was that there was going to be a holiday on the employee side of FICA, just pertaining to Social Security, not Medicare, not Medicaid, which essentially means that 6.2% that the employee pays is on holiday or could be on holiday. The guidance from the IRS spelling out the details of what that holiday is going to look like was released on August 28th. And then, of course, the holiday, according to the original executive order, is starting or was supposed to start on the 1st of September.
Yesterday.
Right.
As this is being taped on the 2nd.
So because this is a deferral, that's basically a fancy way of saying we're not withholding these taxes right now, but they're still owed, and they're going to be owed in 2021. So the 6.2% is still going to have to be paid in 2021. The terms of that are going to allow for larger withholdings in 2021. So instead of withholding 6.2% in 2021 from your employees, you would withhold at a higher rate to pay these basically back taxes.
So in the grand scheme of things, I guess I don't understand why they're doing it if it's 6.2%. Is it to give the employee a little bit of a break, but it's not really a break because we're just going to take more from you next year?
Right. It's not just a temporary break. It's a temporary break that will result in a negative effect in 2021 because the increase in wages will be lost, and it's essentially a loan, an interest-free loan that would have to be paid back. There's a couple of caveats that lead to the sort of a headache of administering this as an employer. But I think the one thing we really want to make sure we cover is in the executive order, it seemed very clear that this was going to be mandatory. You as an employer or a firm were not going to be allowed to withhold the 6.2%. What we know now, according to the IRS, is that firms will be allowed to opt out. So if you, the farmer, the owner, want to continue withholding the 6.2%, you can. You can continue withholding it, and you still have a continued obligation to pay it to the government as you receive it. Your due dates vary accordingly based on the size of your operation, but it's business as usual if that's what you want. And that's
you're fine. You're not going against anything
because that was not clear a month ago. Okay. So that's really what you need to know. I think that's what most employers are going to do because there's one big open question here. So if you have employees that you give this deferral to and they quit before 2021 or during 2021, who pays the back taxes? And the answer is very clear. It was pretty clear even before the IRS announced it, but became very clear. It's the employer. So you're on the hook for these taxes and paying them in 2021, whether you do the withholdings or not. And so you think about things like harvest crews and seasonal work at the end of 2020 doing pruning. We already know that the farmer's going to be the one who has to pay this bill. It's never going to be the employee because the employees are going to leave before it's paid back, at least in the nature of our business.
What are we suggesting?
It may be different. What's that?
What are we suggesting? Are we suggesting withhold it? You don't want to get caught. Well, not caught, but you don't want to get stuck.
I think you want to continue withholding at the normal rate. If you have some pushback from employees, I would actually be surprised because it really wasn't that well publicized. I really don't think there's going to be a lot of pushback. The IRS has basically announced that employees aren't able to opt in or out. This is not a decision they can make. So if you have 6 employees and one says, I really want you to keep withholding this so I don't have a headache at the end of the year, and another one says, I need this money now, Well, you can't serve the needs of both of those employees. You have to make a choice whether your whole firm is going to opt in or out.
Okay, that was my next question. What if it's spurred arguments amongst employees?
Yep. And everything is going to have to be paid back, at least as the law stands right now and the regulations per the IRS. Everything's going to be paid back by April 30th. So, you know, that might actually work for your pruning crew, but I don't understand why you would take that risk. For your harvest crew, it's never going to work. They're going to be gone until the next harvest season for the most part. And even the employees that are not gone, you know, if you have full-time regular staff, I'm assuming they're going to be a little irritated that you bumped their pay up 6% and then bumped it down relative to the higher pay 15 or so percent on January 1st, 2021.
Yeah, it sounds
Now,
like just keep
right.
withholding.
I mean, the political wild card here is the Republicans, or at least President Trump, has announced his intentions to forgive these taxes altogether in 2021. So if he obviously were to win the election, there's a possibility that these taxes would go away. Now, I would imagine that they would go away for everyone, not just the people who had it withheld. So I would imagine you would see a credit on a 2021 tax return or even a 2020 tax return.
Only if it's forgiven.
Right. So, right. But I guess what I'm saying here is I don't think by withholding these taxes, you're losing out on potential forgiveness down the road. I don't know that, but it's also important to keep in mind that the reason it was done this way is because it was done by an executive order. The president, no matter who the president is, cannot lower taxes unilaterally. So if this forgiveness is going to happen, it's going to have to be passed as a law with all the complexities that are involved in passing a law and compromise, you know, amongst the two houses of Congress and the president. So that all I mean to say by that is we don't know what that forgiveness would look like if it were to happen, because there would obviously be compromise associated with it if it were going to happen. So I think it would be really speculative to not withhold to try to gain advantage of a potential future forgiveness. That wouldn't be my advice just because of all the unknowns surrounding it. But I think everybody can, you know, every firm can do this for themselves. You know, if you only have closely related employees, maybe your calculus on this is a little bit different, but certainly know that the whole process from a payroll perspective, whether your employees are closely related or not, is if you choose to participate in the holiday, it's going to be more complicated because you're going to have to change your FICA withholdings multiple times. If you use software like ADP, it appears that they are the most well-equipped to handle that. Proprietary in-house software that medium-sized companies use look like it's going to be more of a train wreck. And if you just kind of calculate it on your own, just make sure you do it correctly and make sure you follow the terms of the loan and get it paid back by April 30th, while also complying with New York state law and making sure wages stay high enough as the employee pays back a loan.
So is there information, like if somebody wanted to look into this further, is there information on our website? Is there information in the crop update? Just a link somewhere? Right.
So I think, I mean, you can read Notice 2020-65 from the IRS. You can contact your payroll service provider. If you have a payroll service provider, that's going to be your best resource. You should really ignore everything on our website and contact the professionals. We're here, well, I mean, seriously, we're here to provide you with some educational information so you're aware of these changes in the regulations. But for your individual firm, you should really rely on your accountant and your payroll services. So it'll be in the crop update. If you heard it here, you're not going to hear anything new in the crop update. We just want you to be aware that there is a holiday. And then more importantly, I think a lot of people were already aware that there was going to be a holiday, but that you don't have to participate in it if you don't want to. Because that's,
and if you do participate in it, you're going to have to pay it back next year.
Yes, and most importantly, you is you. Like the firm pays it back, not the employee. You
Right.
can try to collect it from the employee. You can try to collect it from the employee, whether the employee quits or continues to work for you, but it's on you to do that collection. The IRS is not going to do it. They're coming to you and you're obligated to pay it.
Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you. All
And
right.
yeah, if you have any questions about this, if that was a little bit confusing, you can feel free to, contact us. If you have specific questions about your form 941 or something like that, contact your payroll provider or your accountant. But if you want to keep up with what's going on, you can contact us if you have any other questions. And I think that's all we have for this riveting FICA update before harvest.
Yeah. Check your sugars, everybody. Get out there and keep checking. They're climbing quickly with all the sun we've had. Not today, but with all the sun we have had. I've heard from representatives around the region that it's climbing a lot faster than normal. So.
Yeah, we were going to try to get this podcast out last week, but there was no IRS guidance and they were already purple. So we figured we'd talk about that. And now we have to get it out this week because 2 weeks from now, it sounds like you'll all be picking grapes. So good luck during harvest. And we will be here next week with some sort of update, probably how things are progressing in the field. So thank you for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, just contact us the normal way.
Yeah. Have a great day.